Woo! Alright. December. Boy, has time flown by. It's been a long time since my last review. I think it was like the end of October. I apologize. I've been working on a lot of stuff with my setup here to improve it so that 2021 will be even better for all future content that I produce on this channel. But now that it's December, you know, it's that time of the year. I am just fit to burst with holiday spirit. Before we get into what we're doing today, this needs to be changed. I can't do it with this on, so let's make a quick adjustment. What, this? Just a minor symbol for my enthusiasm for the holidays. Well, now that I'm sufficiently dressed for the occasion, what to actually play? I didn't really think this far ahead. What's that?
I'm Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? It's a true holiday present. There's nothing more Christmas themed than Spider-Man, right? I mean, he's like the symbol of that. Red. Did you bring me something there, it looks like?
Pizza time.
Oh, well, how awesome is this?
You got the moves. I was late for work and Dr. Connors fired me.
Okay, alright. Well, guess I got my present here. Let's check it out. Spider-Man for the N64. I have some memories about this game. I don't know if I ever beat it, but I definitely remember playing it a lot. So, alright, let's revisit Spider-Man for N64. Alright, now some of you may be wondering what the heck's going on here with the holiday thing and all this and Spider-Man. Don't ask questions. You think I have the answers to those questions? No. All I know is I'm trying to celebrate the holidays here. And Spider-Man just showed up. He's gone now. He gave me the game and made an exodus. Anyway, Spider-Man for N64. The first thing I want to get across is that this game was developed by Neversoft, the same people who developed Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, a game with a huge, long-lasting legacy that made skateboarding and Tony Hawk himself household known things. They were so famous, especially amongst non-skateboarding groups. It really brought people in. So those same people made Spider-Man. Neversoft also being known for having one of the most family-friendly and holiday-themed, if I might add, introduction logo sequences out of any game company ever. I mean, happy holidays, right? I mean, I may have added some extra holiday gusto to that, I won't lie, but I mean, it didn't need much enhancement to be cheerful and merry. Okay, that doesn't play in this game. That logo is from Tony Hawk's Underground, one of my favorite games ever. Neversoft is a company that I really love, and I don't think I've ever played a game of theirs that I didn't like. And this is one of the many that's part of their legacy. It's definitely one of their labors of love. Spider-Man for N64. It's not called Spider-Man 64. The game is just called Spider-Man. Commonly, obviously, it's given the title of Spider-Man 64. That's how you name N64 games. Go figure. It was also on PlayStation 1. But this is a fairly standard action game. You take control of Spider-Man, you navigate through linear levels, you have boss battles against a lot of Spider-Man's famous foes, such as Venom and Rhino, Scorpion, Mysterio. They're all here as well. It's pretty cool. This game's a little nostalgic to me. I did remember playing it extensively, at least the first 2 levels when I was younger. So let's see, how is this game gonna hold up in an era of really great Spider-Man games? Because Spider-Man definitely took a dip for a while there, but then came back pretty strong in the past couple of years. The Amazing Spider-Man movie games were like pretty okay, like they were fun in my opinion at least. But that new one for PlayStation 4 and 5 is pretty spectacular. So how is this one gonna hold up? One of the first, if not the first, 3D Spider-Man games. Well, let's get into it. Let's start out with the story. What's going on here? So the game starts off with this cutscene here made up of stills, stylized like a comic book. The story begins at a tech expo of sorts with Dr. Octopus, now supposedly reformed. Let's just like pause right there. This is like a thing that happens in a lot of comic book stories. The supervillains reform themselves and say, hey, you know, I'm not gonna be evil anymore. And it's like, okay, you're still gonna go to prison for all the things you did though, right? Well, apparently not. If they make promises to help out places, it's all sins are forgiven. They pretty much did that in that Fantastic Four sequel movie. Dr. Doom's just like, I'm sorry, what can I say? It was a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to try to kill all of you. It's whatever. Victor Von Doom. So here we got Dr. Octavius. He's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just here to help, it's fine. So yeah, alright, cool. And then, oh no, Spider-Man steals the thing, the plot thing. But it can't be the Spider-Man because the Spider-Man's in the crowd as Peter. Also Venom's there. So just like the most convenient cast of people are present for this event. So now the world thinks that Spider-Man is 100% a criminal that needs to be, you know, arrested and dealt with without asking any questions at all. So Spider-Man's on the run from the law. As the game begins, we get a bunch of tutorial stuff here with Black Cat. It ain't a Spider-Man game without Black Cat showing up at some point. It is worth noting that Black Cat is voiced by none other than Jennifer Hale, who voiced Samus in the Metroid Prime games, and also, and more importantly, the female Shepard in the Mass Effect trilogy. So, amongst other things, I mean, she's like Troy Baker. She's in like so many things gaming-wise, you'd be blown away the list that she has to her credits. But here she is. With that said, a lot of the voices in this game come from people who have acted in Spider-Man TV shows of the time. It's a mixture of the cast from, not all the cast, it's a mixture of some people from the Spider-Man TV show from 1994, which is actually pretty good, and Spider-Man Unlimited, which is where this Spider-Man's voice comes from. So that's pretty cool, that they got the voices of people that voice these characters in, like, official adaptations outside of video games. That's pretty sweet. But here we go, the game is now beginning, the tutorial starts. As we move through the tutorial, we start to learn more of what Spider-Man can do in this game. Pretty standard action game setup. We can jump around, we can web swing between buildings, we can punch, we can kick, we can shoot web. So all the basic necessities are there, and it all feels pretty good, to be honest. Wall crawling also works pretty well. It's not disorienting or confusing. It's pretty slow, but that lends itself to more accuracy, to be honest. I kind of like that angle of it. Spider Sense is pretty wacky though. When it goes off, it's just like the whole screen shaking, changing colors like a disco rainbow party. And it isn't like warning you specifically of like something happening to you. It's just warning you, hey, there are armed guards ahead. Be prepared. But the effect is like so dramatic. You're like, what? What's happening? What? And it's nothing specific. So that's a little overdone, but not terrible. At least it's there. They're finding a way to implement all the traits of the character, which is cool. Now we find ourselves at the first real level of the game. The tutorial's done with. This level I have a pretty vivid memory of, this bank sequence here. We have to navigate through this bank, and we gotta take out the robbers before they are alerted to your presence, thus saving the hostages. And you know, when I'm messing around with this, and I'm thinking, stealth thing here is pretty cool. It's such a weird thing. I just like can't picture Spider-Man and like tactical espionage being linked on account of just who his character is. He's red and blue spandex, leaping all around, shooting webbing everywhere, spouting one-liners. Not a character that I associate being a ninja.
Mind if I drop in?
But his powers and abilities do lend itself to that. So, and especially with the controls of the game too. So being able to hit one button and zip right up to the ceiling is awesome. Don't have to worry about using web swings or wall crawling tediously. It's a very good idea. You can very easily attack from the ceiling, both webs and just strikes. Again, works very well, very thoughtfully designed and well executed. Stealth sequences are also present in the newer games as well. I remember them in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I did one of them in the PlayStation 4/5 one by Insomniac. So they've all kept up the tradition. It's an odd tradition, but one that I definitely welcome. As we get to the end of this level, the objective becomes getting rid of this bomb, which the bank robbers have set. And only thing that we can do is act fast and throw it inside the bank vault. Problem solved. No need to disarm it, just let it go off and destroy all of those valuables. I mean, Spider-Man's not worried about covering the costs, so who cares? No consequences, right? Issue solved. Shortly after the bank heist is done, we get our first encounter with another supervillain from Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery, and it's Scorpion. This is the first major boss battle, really, and this is where I also noticed that there's no block button. There's also no like evade button either. You can jump out of the way of hits and whatnot, but there's no counter or block or like sidestep or any kind of evasion tactic that you have at your disposal. But first I started to really notice this because I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna whack him a couple times, and boom, he just sends me to the floor like a boxing partner. I'm just down immediately. Just got slugged in the face. It's really weird. So I favor a hit and run tactic here because I can't stand there and fight him. I have no answer for his counterattack. And it isn't that big of a deal. I mean, Scorpion's not too difficult, but not being able to block or reliably quickly get out of the way after you're done punching is kind of an issue. That's definitely a problem because it makes this a little artificially harder than it should be, since I'm missing a couple of moves that are pretty mainstay nowadays. But I mean, that's the thing about older games, you know, certain mechanics evolve over time. The Batman Arkham series definitely made the go-to formula for games of this genre, free-flow beat-em-ups, adventure game type things, because in Batman Arkham Asylum and forward, you got strikes, you got counters, you got stuns, you have evasion. It's all there, and it works very well. So here we have the punches, we got the kicks, we got the jumps, but we don't have anything else. It just leaves you getting whacked to the ground as soon as you're done getting your punches in. It's easy to forget what's going on in the story here because we've had this bank heist, we went right to fighting Scorpion and saving Jonah Jameson from him, but Spider-Man's a wanted man in the story here. He got framed for stealing the technology MacGuffin thing from Dr. Octopus in the beginning of the game. So we have a level here, we have to run from the police, and this level's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Fast-paced, running, swinging between buildings, it's pretty great. But like the police, Spider-Man's wanted, and naturally, when you go to arrest somebody, you bring out your attack helicopter with missiles and machine guns on the bottom, you know, to capture someone with incendiary explosives.
After the wrong guy!
I forgot to mention this earlier. Most of the levels begin with narration by none other than Stan Lee, and I think that's pretty cool because he really plays it up. He's really giving it his all. It's very contagious, his energy. Here's a couple of examples.
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here. Once again, we find our hero Peter Parker, better known around the world as the Amazing Spider-Man, in a heap of trouble. But this is just the beginning, Spidey fans. So get ready for a true superhero action thriller, packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, more supervillains than you can shake a web at, and of course, non-stop web-slinging, wall-crawling action. Oh boy, Spidey fans, Black Cat is out. Rhino's looking to take Spidey down as well. But fortunately for the web-slinger, Rhino's only got a one-track mind.
I love it. It's pretty great. He really makes it seem like it's like an action serial or something. It opens up and there's like this text, will the hero prevail? Oh, come back next week. It gives it that kind of vibe, and I think it's pretty great. But we have our fight with Rhino here, and I gotta say, Rhino has put on his best holiday face for sure. I mean, that's a face that everyone could easily love and not misunderstand at all for being a bad guy. The Rhino fight's a lot different than Scorpion though, and again, this is where it's like having an evade or a block would be pretty cool, because all I can do is jump. You just have to bait him into bashing his head against objects in the level. It's not too hard, but since all I can do is jump, and the jump itself isn't all that powerful, you know, you can get hit accidentally all the time. But it's not too hard. I had to really resist the urge to punch and kick him. That's not the solution here. You gotta bait him into crashing into stuff, but not difficult. Definitely different, and I appreciate the variety. I think that's a good move. The Scorpion fight was more fisticuffs. This one's more baiting, avoiding, and like leading your opponent into traps. So far, I'm digging the variety. I wish there was a better way to evade or block or counter or something, or utilize webbing more, because that's de-emphasized in certain fights. You could web up Scorpion, but it doesn't really work that well against Rhino, so But alright, what's next? With Rhino defeated, we move pretty quickly into having to chase after Venom. So Venom has kidnapped Mary Jane Watson, and we now have to pursue him to his hideout to rescue her. We must pursue Venom, but keep within a suitable distance, otherwise he escapes. This is where the web swinging mechanics start to show a little bit of their age. Since you're limited to 2 swings and you gradually descend as you swing, you gotta be really careful about where you aim your landings, because it's pretty easy to miscalculate, land too low in a building, it takes too long to climb up, and Venom escapes, and that's super frustrating. Later games that would come out have the ability to do a thing called a web zip, where you quickly scale up the side of the building, and that's a great idea. So an issue that was fixed afterward, but definitely a pain point here. The thing that really drives me nuts is that when you lose and start over, there's this one sequence that plays out that you can't skip. So here it is.
Look out, lady.
Oh my goodness!
Get out of my way, nerd. Watch that first step, right? It's a doozy.
Oh, toe, ow! Oh, toe, ow!
Oh, sorry, lady. Didn't see a thing.
Okay, so I failed, and now we start over, but I have to watch that again, and that sucks, because I get halfway through this chase sequence, and there's a part where all I can really do is just sit here and wait, and that has to repeat. I've failed this mission like 4 times now. Ugh, and it's all because of the web swing. I get the wrong spot, or I make a little tiny mistake, and he gets away. Jeez, it's a little frustrating.
Gotta keep moving.
No! Ow, again! Oh, start over.
Look out, lady.
Here comes the chase thing again. Excuse me, madam, whatever. It's in the shower. Is it an apartment building or an office building or what? I really want to be able to skip this. They shouldn't make you sit through this. It was funny the first time, but not the 28th time. Good lord. Alright. Alright, here we go. Finally, I beat the... Yes. Okay. Did it. Now that I finally beat the stupid chase mission, 8 attempts something later, now we actually have to fight Venom. Now, right away, the problem I have, a lot of the same issues with the Scorpion boss battle are happening here in full force. I go in to hit him and I get immediately counterattacked. I'm not sure what to do here. this cutscene that plays when the battle starts, Spider-Man does this move where he makes webbing on his hands. I guess it's like web brass knuckles. Doesn't really make any sense at all. Wouldn't it make his hands like softer and sticky? But that implies I'm supposed to punch Venom, and that isn't working. I go in to hit him, I get immediately slammed back down to the ground. And I can't even see him coming half the time because the camera's not centered on Venom like it was in the Scorpion boss battle. And the Rhino one for that matter. They both kept the camera between me and the opponent. It's not happening here because he sneaks all around. Oh my god, it's so frustrating. And when you lose the armor power-up that I got during the chase sequence. I had more health coming into this because of that power-up that now I don't have because I had to restart the fight. And I'm going through, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, I'm just getting beat down. Oh! Come on. Oh, jeez! I can't do it. I can't do it. It was so much fun, and now it's just a wall that I cannot climb over. I'm out of holiday cheer. Make the best of it. Whatever. Can't beat the N64 game. Might as well bake these cookies, am I right? Why are you throwing me in my moment of weakness? Okay. I walked away. I had a bit of an episode. Let's just try it again. Whoa! Spider-Man some more? How unexpected.
Up and away, Whip!
Had to beat an old lady with a stick to get these cramps.
What move is that? You like shoot like projectiles at him? Look how much damage that does. What the? Yeah, you're the, I don't want that back. You're the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, so that's coming out of your body. Oh, thanks. Thank you, though, for beating the level, I guess.
Shazam! Go, Web, go!
Thank you, Spider-Man. Alright. Spider-Man, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? Wow. Alright, so I've been playing this game wrong, apparently. Look how easy that is once you just use that web ball technique. It destroyed him, like, instantly. I guess I gotta consult a manual here or something, learn about these moves I'm not even aware of. Because, yeah, there's a handful of web moves. You got the web brass knuckle thing, which increases your physical attack damage. There's the web projectiles that do pretty significant damage to bosses like Venom, it looks like. And then there's the web dome explosion thing. And these are all done in conjunction with the control stick and the C stick, or the C button stick. GameCube habit there. So, okay, there's moves I haven't been using up to this point, so we can chalk the Venom boss thing up to me just being ignorant of the controls, but now that I got it, I'm dangerous. Alright, now we can continue here. So, now that I'm older and wiser to the controls, what is next? After defeating the first Venom boss encounter, we have another really cool sequence here on this moving train as we fight these lizard monsters. This is another thing I remember from playing this when I was younger, so I guess I got farther than I realized when I was a kid, because I definitely remember this sequence here, and this is pretty fun. The game is fun again. Beating up these monsters on this train ride. What follows next is a fairly kind of standard middle-of-the-road sequence. It's not that great. It's like a sewer level. Like, I mean, how fun are sewer levels in any game? I mean, come on, it's the sewers. Limited appeal. But it ends with another encounter with Venom, and now that I got the pro strats down of just using this projectile move here, it's pretty easy, to be honest. You have to save Mary Jane though. She's like on this chain, and the water fills up, so you gotta battle Venom for hitting the switches. You don't want to mess it up, otherwise she goes under. Not the ideal holiday ending scenario there. But, you know, it's not hard once you know that you can just use these web balls and make quick work of them. So, hey, Venom defeated. Now we find ourselves in the last third of the game, and there's one constant theme that starts here and never lets up, and that's the one type of enemy that you typically encounter in levels. These symbiote monsters. These things are terrible, and I hate them so much. They take so much damage in punches and kicks, and you're guaranteed to get counterattacked in the middle of all that. The only way you can beat them clean is if you use the web brass knuckle power-up thing and go at them, but even then you're still gonna get hit here and there. So honestly, I just try to avoid them, and that's not fun, just running through levels past enemies, not even giving a care in the world. But what choice do I have? They're like ridiculously tough. They have way too much health, and they deal way too much damage back to you, and there's rarely any health pickups in the levels at this point. It's just a tedious nightmare. This one elevator portion here, oh, it's just terrible, and I legitimately hate it. Now the game is frustrating again. It has such peaks and valleys out of nowhere. Man, that bank level was so much fun, and the chase after that, the scorpion fight, the cop chase. Man, I was having the time of my life, and then Venom boss battle came out of nowhere, and then the sewer was okay, it was better, and then we're back to this frustrating nonsense again. These symbiotes are terrible, these levels with them are terrible, and I just can't stand it. All I want to do is get past them as fast as possible and keep going and hope that it gets better. After running past all the symbiotes non-stop, exclusively, never fighting them once, ever, we get to the imposter Spider-Man. Who could it possibly be? Mysterio! Cheeky man, you silly guy. And now we have a boss battle against a kaiju-sized Mysterio. This kind of confuses me because isn't his whole thing that he's like a special effects technician and it's all like illusions and fakery? But like what? He built like a giant 3-story mechanical version of himself or something? Like a Mysterio Gundam? Like what the heck is this? Okay. Now this is where the game goes from frustratingly difficult to pretty forgiving. Weird. This Mysterio boss fight, unlike every other boss fight thus far, has health pickups just everywhere. As long as you're not being completely suicidal, you'll never lose a life here. There's health pickups constantly respawning. It's incredibly forgiving. So I don't know what's going on with the balance of this game's difficulty, but when you get about 40% into the game and that Venom chase scene starts, all of a sudden we're just having extreme highs in difficulty, and then it dipped a little bit for the sewer segment, and then it stayed dipped, and then it just like ramped up to 11 for the symbiote nonsense, the office, the elevator, the basement, just running past enemies. It's incredibly difficult, and now we're back down again. This Mysterio fight's a joke. It's fun. I think the music's actually pretty good, and it's a fun, entertaining boss fight. It's very different. Again, to give the game credit, all the boss fights have been pretty unique from each other thus far. Scorpion being a pretty straightforward punch and kick-a-thon, Rhino being baited into hitting his head against things, Venom was vanishing, you gotta guess where he is and react to where he is, Mysterio's this giant, towering Gundam mechanical menace monster. Like, they're all so different, it's great variety, but the difficulty spikes are what's killing me right now. Good God! But alright, Mysterio defeated. Now we're on to the game's final couple of sections here. Now we find ourselves in the final area of the game, this underwater research base. There are more symbiotes here. I cannot wait to avoid them and run away and not fight them at all because of how stupid they are. Awesome. And also we find Black Cat again. Black Cat actually gets kidnapped at the end of the Rhino boss battle. So that's 2 of 2 female characters of this game that are kidnapped and must be saved by Spider-Man. Whoa. I'm not trying to make an issue out of it, but it's just like really obvious to me when I'm seeing it play out like this, which is weird to me because Black Cat's like an actual metahuman. She has powers, so like, come on. But whatever. So Spider-Man's like, go get help, and she goes to call the police, I guess. Like whatever is gonna happen with that. Sure. And now we finally come face to face with the puppeteer of this whole tangled web of evil. It was Doc Ock all along. Who would have ever possibly guessed that? Oh my lord! It's almost like he was the bad guy the whole time because he is a bad guy. Jeez. So Doc Ock is responsible for all of the evil here. We have a big boss fight against him. Here we go with the peaks and valleys again, though. So we had this symbiote nonsense again in this section. I'm running away from them. I don't want to fight him anymore because it's terrible. But then this Doc Ock fight, there's health just constantly being thrown at you. It's so ridiculously easy. It's such an easy boss fight. It's over so fast. It was never a threat. Health was readily available. Now the true final boss fight begins, and this is against Carnage. He's the other bad guy. I guess he's where the symbiote things are coming from. So we're gonna take him down. So this one's also different. We can't just like straight up punch him or do web balls or whatever. We actually have to get him in the middle of this room where he gets damaged by this sonic device thing. The question is, how do we do that? Will he walk in there willingly? No. Can we whack him in there with the web balls? No. We actually have to shoot the web out and then swing him into it. And I had no idea that that was a thing you could do until having to look it up because I don't know what the hell to do in this boss battle because there's no clue that like tells you to do it. But yeah, so now here's the problem. I don't know what does it. According to the manual, it's just like C-stick up and then you do it in the direction you want to throw it at and it's the stick. But I don't know what order of events it has to happen. Do I do C-stick forward and then control stick left? Do I do control stick left as a C-stick forward? Is it the C forward and it's the same time? Guess none of them work. It's none of those things. None of them do it. I don't know. It's completely random. When it happens, it happens. It don't happen 90% of the time. I'm right back to pissed off again. This nonsense. I'm doing it, and I'm pressing it, and I'm trying, and it just doesn't want to work. Just doesn't work. It's not working. God. Oh, there we go. There's one. Okay. Oh, come on. There's another one. All right. Just one more. Oh, come on, man. It's just one more. You know, again, the health pickups are just everywhere. There we go. God, I earned that one. I don't get it. I don't know what the winning technique was. I did it apparently, but I don't know what it was. Oh, finally. Okay, Carnage is finally defeated. But he's down, not out. The Carnage symbiote leaves Cletus Cassidy and takes over Dr. Octopus, and it creates Monster Ock. His power level is far too great for our hero Spider-Man. We must escape instead. What follows here is like a Metroid-style self-destruct escape sequence. You're running away, trying to keep your distance from Monster Ock while the facility explodes. You got to climb up all these different levels. It's pretty cool. Monster Ock's sound profile reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing. So it's got that level of creepiness going for it, I guess. All we have to do though is get out. Once we do, we see the Black Cat summon the Avengers who save Spider-Man. Spider-Man also manages to save Doc Ock. Although I guess this means that Cletus Cassidy died in the self-destruct sequence. I mean, I know that he's like a serial killer, but I mean, the heroic thing to do would have been to save him regardless, but I guess not. Spider-Man doesn't play that way. So there we go. The game's over. We get an ending here where the Avengers, comprised of Daredevil and Punisher and Captain America, the two former of which were actually in the game story earlier briefly, they all play Go Fish. Cool. We get Black Cat and Johnny Storm doing aerobics together, I suppose. Johnny Storm's on fire though, which seems like a kind of weird move to do inside. That's dangerous and rude to your company in the house. But there we go. So, beat the game. Oh man, what a journey that game was. It definitely has ups and downs, but largely a great game, I can't lie. There's also some added replayability value to it as well, because the game does have a cheat system, which allows you to play the game again with certain modifiers, alternate costumes. Some of the costumes have special traits like infinite web fluid or the ability to turn invisible. So the game has high replay value. But how did the game overall work out? You know, largely great. I would say that it holds up very well. It's not free from its frustration. I would say that it has a largely inconsistent difficulty management to it. So the game, not to say it starts out too easy, the game starts out and it's really fun, things are moving really nice. Scorpion boss battle, although slightly challenging, is not too difficult. Same thing with Rhino. But man, not knowing the controls that well, that Venom boss fight was just punishing. And even knowing the controls, a lot of those same tactics don't work that well against the symbiote enemies. So what you think is some kind of killer advantage ends up not really being the case. So you have these like really large difficulty spikes, and those symbiote levels largely were not fun. I was just running through them, just trying to get them over with. So peaks and valleys, but largely great game. I wouldn't say that those levels detract from the overall experience, because there are still some great levels and great boss battles and whatnot toward the end parts of the game too that's worth seeing, despite those low-hanging, awful, frustrating symbiote sequences. But there we go, Spider-Man on N64. I do one day want to do the PlayStation 1 version to see the version of the game with all the cutscenes and stuff like that. So. And that brings us to the end. Not just the end of this review, but the end of 2020 also. This has definitely been a roller coaster of a year. Jeez. All I can really do here is say happy holidays, have a happy new year. I hope everyone's staying safe, staying positive. It's been a wild ride for sure. So let's all work toward making 2021 a much more better year. So, again, happy holidays, happy new year, have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.